And here we are. It's another episode of your favorite podcast with your favorite neighborhood-friendly spider guy. That's me. Maybe not so friendly, and maybe not in your neighborhood, but, you know, they do call me Spider in some circles. So, what are you guys doing? How do you feel? What's up on this Monday evening? Yeah, it's raining here in good old Canton, Ohio. And it's been kind of messy last several days off and on. So, you know, that's just how it is. Ohio has different weather all the time. Like, every day tends to be different. Like, one day it's going to be nice and then like 80 degrees, and then the next day it'll be snow in the 40s and 30s. It's crazy. That's in Fahrenheit, of course, for our international listeners. Because being in the United States, we still don't have a handle on that whole Celsius thing so much. Yeah, we just don't. So anyway, I'm just rambling on. Let me get to the topic at hand, or should I say at paw, or should I say at claw? Because tonight, it's cats. That's right, cats. Let's talk about this. So, cats. How many people out there have a cat? I have cats. I've pretty much had cats most of my life, or at least been around them for most of my life, if I didn't actually have any. There was a brief period after I'd moved out from my folks' house, from my childhood home, into the wide, wide world, and where I was living, I had a dog, but I didn't have a cat. But one of my roommates had a cat, and so I was around cats. And then for another brief time, I was in an apartment by myself, with the occasional particular visitor, who eventually stopped coming around. She wasn't the cat, but, you know, I didn't have a cat at that time either. I didn't have a cat. I had my dog, but I didn't have any cats. Later on, I did get cats again, and then I've had cats ever since. So what's the deal with cats? What's the deal? Wikipedia, in all of its wisdom, calls the cat, parentheses, Felis catus, a domestic species of small carnivorous mammal. And that makes it sound really menacing, and I think cats probably would prefer to be that. Cats kind of like, they have these attitudes, and I think they would like to be described as carnivorous mammals. You know? And we of course call them house cats, or the domestic cat. They're commonly house pets. They can also be farm cats or feral cats. Feral cats just roam around doing whatever they want. Which is kind of a problem, because there's a lot of feral cats out there. People don't take care of them, and they end up, you know, having problems and things like that, and then causing problems for other neighborhood wildlife, like if people want to have birds in their yard, or, you know, that kind of stuff. So, I've always been of the philosophy that domestic cats are a house pet. They're not a wild species. You shouldn't just have them out wandering around. If you own a cat and you want them to be an indoor-outdoor cat, you have to have a secure area outdoors that they can walk around in, like a fenced-in area where they won't be able to climb the fence or get out some other way. Because people around here, like, there's people around here just like, oh yeah, my cat wanted to go out, so I just put him out, and they just put him out, and they wander the streets, and it's like, why? Like, they're gonna get hurt. They're like, no, they come back. And I'm like, well, one of these days they're not going to come back, and that's going to be a problem for you. It's very unfortunate. I'm pretty, like, fiery about that issue there, but I'm going to try not to get too, like, with you guys about it. But yeah, cats, domestic cats should be house pets. In-house pets, in my opinion. Okay, and it's my show, so I can say whatever I want. Capital T. It's not grammatically correct at the end, but still. So what is the deal with cats? My cats are nuts. My cats are crazy. But, you know, most cats could be like that. They go through several phases in their lives. If you have kittens, you know how rambunctious and wild and playful they can be, and they will get into absolutely everything. They will jump high distances, high heights, I suppose. They will crawl into the smallest spaces. They will get behind furniture, behind electronics. They will get everywhere, and they will frequently make toys out of things that are not toys. Now, for cats, play is actually hunting behavior, because were they in the wild, that's how they would learn how to hunt. They would play and they would keep themselves fit and active, and then they would hunt like mice or rats or birds or whatever small animals smaller than them that they could overpower and catch. And without having any sort of prey to attack, then they will seek out toys and whatnot in your house, and anything can be a toy. Your kids' toys can be cat toys. Rubber balls, coins on the floor. For some reason, my cats seem to find stray carpentry nails. And I don't have, just carpentry nails just around my house. You're not going to walk into my house and be like, oh man, I stepped on a carpentry nail. It's just, they're in a box in, a tool cupboard, for when we need to use a nail on something, right? And somehow, the youngest cats in the house found them and will bat them around the kitchen every time they get a hold of one. And it's like, where do you keep getting these nails? Are you pulling them out of the walls? Is my house going to fall down? Will you laugh at me afterwards? Knowing a cat, they probably will. That's another thing about cats. If you've had cats, you know that they're smarmy buggers. They're smarmy, which is a word I would use. They're kind of like, yes, quite. And they always seem to be planning something behind your back. Sometimes right to your face. They'll just, you'll ask, hey, do you want a treat? Do you want a treat? They'll be like, and they'll look away, snooty. A few minutes later, they'll come up when you're busy doing something else, like, say, working on a laptop or something, and they'll just lay across the keys and be like, I'm ready for my treat now. You can give me my treat now. Meow, meow. That's cats for you. And no matter how many toys you give them, no matter how many fancy pet beds you will give them, or how many cushions or whatever, they will always choose the cardboard box. Empty cardboard boxes from Amazon? Cat bed. Cat fortress. Cat home. Stately cat estate. You know what I'm talking about. Everybody out there who's had a cat knows what I'm talking about. That's cats for you. And my cats are picky these days. I have a broad range of cats. We have the two youngest, which is a mother cat that we rescued from outside, and her one son, who was only maybe a few weeks old when we brought them into the house. Maybe 4 to 6 weeks old. He was pretty small. And here he comes now, all loping along, as large as his mother, thinking he's king of the new castle here. But they're the youngest. The mother is only maybe about a year old. She was a kitten basically herself, too. Kittens having kittens, What is the world coming to? The rest of my cats are older for the most part. I have the oldest is a mother cat who she's about 14 years old, give or take, I think. We don't know how old she was when we first brought her into the house, because she was an outside stray at my old apartment. And she had given birth to a litter of kittens in the engine block of my truck at the time. My truck wasn't running. The engine was basically destroyed. That's a story for another time. And not my fault, by the way. Not my fault. Don't be jumping to conclusions there. But I'm still pretty steamed about it, actually. But anyway, she had kittens in the engine block of the truck during like cold weather, like in the winter or something like that. So warm weather started, they started coming out and showing up, and we brought 2 of them into the house, and the rest of them we found homes at the apartment complex. But she and those 2 are still with us, so they would probably... We estimate maybe she was 2 years old at the time, give or take. And so they're probably 12 years old each. And they have a friend who was rescued from a nearby coworker, or not from, like they didn't mistreat him, like they had this cat on their property and they didn't know what to do with him, and they thought, oh, you people like cats, you'll rescue him, right? And they brought him over to us, and so we have him. He's probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years old, give or take. He was younger than the other ones, but like not strictly a kitten. And so he's here. He sneezed, like he's been sneezing in the background. So if you heard like some sneezing, that's him. He's got allergies. He's allergic to everything, it seems like. So his nose is always running like mad. And then we have the younger brother of the other 2 brothers, because that was an accident. We had an accident, and the mother cat had ended up with a litter of cats, and we ended up we were able to get homes for all of those but 2 of them. The one we have now, and then his brother, who passed last year, I believe, which is unfortunate. Maybe earlier this year. I don't remember the exact time frame. It was a rough time, but anyway. So he's here, and then they're all kind of pinned in the middle by a cat who's about 4 years old that we had rescued the year before we brought the 2 youngest in, because he started showing up on the porch all straggly and dirty and hungry, but he was super friendly. He was obviously somebody's house cat in the past, but I checked all the lost and found pet sites in the area. I put up like pictures on the internet. I was like, hey, we found this cat, does he belong to anybody? And nobody claimed him, so we brought him in, got him to health, and he's kind of the bridge between the older cats who are kind of stodgy and the younger cats who are nuts and crazy. So it's a crazy town over my house. Now the youngest, the kitten, is my daughter's cat. So she's working on bonding with him. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. He's, cats are cats and they'll do what they want, but I think it's moving along pretty well. And when I was younger, we always had cats. When I was a kid, we had cats. Because we were on, we didn't run a farm, but we were on a farm. Like, it had been a farm when my grandfather had lived there, but he moved out to give us space, because we were a family of 6 at that point. My parents, me, and my sisters. And so we had barn cats. We had barn cats all over the place. And they bred like crazy outside of where we lived, so there were always like hordes of cats roaming around in our area. And eventually a lot of them passed on and got sick and got old and things, and there's not as many as there used to be out there that way, as far as I know. But that's what happens to a population. It can't always sustain itself in the wild like that. But we had some inside, we had some outside, and always had cats. Now here's some facts for you. Apparently, as of 2021, there was an estimated 220 million cats owned by pet owners in the world. 220 million cats. That's a lot of cats. Apparently, the history of a cat stretches all the way back to Egypt, where they believe the cats were treated as deities and gods and things, and they were worshipped, and that was around 3100 BC. But they've done archaeology and genetics, according to this Wikipedia article, And apparently they believe that domestication actually happened much earlier in Western Asia, around 7500 BC. So that's kind of a contentious thing. But Egypt has a lot of cat statues and things, and they have Bast or Bastet or different pronunciations and different spellings depending on what era of time it was for the Egyptians. She was the cat goddess, and yeah. Here's another interesting fact. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? Oh, okay. A male cat is usually called a tom or a tomcat, and a female is called a queen. And these female cats know it. A juvenile cat is, of course, a kitten. And apparently a group of cats, and I always thought it was like a tribe or a gang or something, something like that, because they were, or a pack of cats or something like that. But apparently a group of cats, scientifically, is known as a glaring of cats. And if you know cats, you know that's probably pretty accurate too. A glaring of cats, because they will glare at you when they want. If they haven't been fed, or if they think you're sitting in their favorite seat, or something like that. And these, of course, are house cats. Now, house cats are generally relatively small-ish. They don't usually get gigantic unless you have like a Maine Coon. Maine Coons are huge cats with lots of fur. Big cats. But wild cat species, which are not like the cats we take at home, but wild feline species. You've got tigers, you've got lions, you've got leopards, you've got jaguars. You got some big cats out in the world, Big ones. Big cats. How do you like the cats? Big ones. Big cats. And mountain lions, pumas. You get pumas all over the place where you wouldn't expect, actually. There's a lot of rumor, and this is getting a little bit off the main topic, but it's interesting to note. There's a lot of rumors that say the mountain lions are here in Ohio roaming around, and in West Virginia roaming around, in places that they shouldn't be, according to science. According to science. But, science is not always correct, which is why you have to keep testing science instead of just saying things like, trust the science. There's something controversial for you. I'm not going to get into any more details about that, but you never trust science. You always take it as it is, and then you do research and find out how true it is and whether there's truer science out there or not. Science is ever changing. It's not something that's just like, this is what it is. Pardon me, I have to adjust my dog's diaper. I know that's not something you expected to hear on an episode about cats or on any kind of podcast, but my dog is old, and she gets into trouble, and she's been making messes on the couch lately for some reason. I've spent a lot of time scrubbing this couch and being unhappy about it. Anyway, back on topic. Cats. Now, some cats are really vocal. Y'all, I can't believe I said that. I meant to say you all, but I said y'all. Yuck. Get your grammar back on track, Spider. You folks know that there's meowing and purring, right? Meow. Purr. They make that purr, vibrating noise in their throats and chest. My cats have a wide range of things. Many of them are very yowly looking. Meow, 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 meow. And sometimes they'll chirp. They'll go brr, brr, brr. And that's interesting. I haven't always had cats that chirped. But you can get these kind of things with a cat. You get all kinds of sounds coming from a cat. And then if they're mad at you or if they're fighting with each other, which they do sometimes, they'll hiss. That kind of thing. They'll hiss. or the growl, that kind of thing. I know you guys tuned in for my sound effects. That's clearly what you're here for my sound effects. And the cats here, they have that whole run. They have the meows, they have the hisses, they have the growls, they have the purrs, and they chirp, and they do all kinds of things. Like my one cat, well, he's not my cat. He's somebody else's in the house's cat. He eats too fast, and so he throws up sometimes. I know. Everybody's like, "What is with this episode? You got dogs making messes on the couch. You got cats throwing up. Why'd I tune into this episode?" Just follow along, okay? Follow along. And but every time he's gonna throw up, you know he's going to, because he makes this. He goes, wow, wow, wow. And it sounds like this really like mournful, like super sad, like, "Oh my gosh, are you alright, buddy?" And then he just like, bleh. He makes this specific sound when he's gonna puke. Like he's letting you know, like, "I'm gonna puke. I'm gonna throw up." And I'm kind of like, okay, let me go get the paper towels. And remember I said earlier, I said they would get into anything, right? Lately, the newer cats, because they're wilder and they were outside before they were brought in, have been getting up onto the stove after I'm done cooking. And if I leave anything up there uncovered, they will get it. And the other day, we had tacos and burritos from Taco Bell. Okay, and they were in their bags, sitting on the stove. Right? They were sitting on the stove, hadn't even gotten into them yet, was doing something else. And they pulled a packaged taco straight out of the bag onto the kitchen floor, unwrapped it, and there were like 5 of them all huddled around it, eating this taco. Bad cats. Bad cats. And they'll do that. You gotta watch out. Cats cannot be trained, per se, most of the time. Some people say, "Oh, yeah, my cat's trained, he does this very good." But the majority of cats refuse to be trained. They look at you like, "Oh, yes, of course, trained. Mm-hmm. Will you be feeding me now or later? Preferably now." Yeah, that's cats for you. And there's famous cats. There's famous cats. There's a cat food called, I don't remember which one has Morris. I think he's on either the Friskies or the Meow Mix. I think he's on Friskies. I think he's on the Friskies. And his name is Morris, and he's an orange cat, of course. It's not the same cat that they named it after, because they've gone through a few cats, I'm sure, since that was a thing. But then everybody knows Garfield, also an orange cat. There's a thing about orange cats. Orange cats are trouble. And that's, I always get told that I'm speciest about that, but orange cats tend to be wilder and trouble. You know? They just are. If you have cats, if any of them are orange, compare the orange cat behavior to the rest of your cats, and you'll know. You'll say, "Ah, I see you are wise, Master Spider." You probably won't say that. But, orange cats. Garfield, of course, comic strip, Jim Davis, a couple of cartoons, John Arbuckle, famous cat. There's other cats throughout history that have been famous. Most of them are cartoons or like animation. Like you got Felix the cat, Fritz the cat. That's probably not appropriate for younger viewers though. You've got that show on Nickelodeon, was it? I think it was either Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network. I think Nickelodeon, where it was Cat Dog, where it was a cat and a dog, and they were like fused in the middle. They were the same animal, but I don't know. It was weird. You had Ren and Stimpy, where Stimpy was a cat. He was supposed to be. Yeah. Let's not get into that. But yeah, cats. Cats are nuts, man. They're crazy. And I got claw marks all over from cats. Like, cats will claw you when they're angry. Cats will claw you when they're happy. Cats will claw you when they're comfortable. Cats will claw you when they want food. Cats will claw you when they don't want food. They will claw you when they want to play. They will claw you when they don't want to play. They will claw you when they want petted. And they will then claw you when they don't want petted. Cats will claw you. But do not, PSA, public service announcement, please, 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 do not declaw your cats. For one thing, if you have an indoor cat, you don't really need to. I know you want to preserve, like, I don't want them scratching up my whole house, and they have a tendency to do that, but I do my best. But I understand that, but it's the process by which they declaw a cat is not nice. Okay, I'm not going to get into it here for the younger listeners, but if you want to look it up, look up how they do cat declawing, and it's not friendly. It's not friendly. And if your cat ever does get out, then they can't survive in nature with no claws. They can't catch food. They can't defend themselves. If you say that you have an indoor-outdoor cat, for sure, definitely don't ever declaw your cat. Please, 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 please. I know you will do what you want, and many people have told me that, but please don't. Please do not declaw your cat. Okay? Yeah, so that's cats. Crazy, huh? I mean, I could keep going on about it, but I probably won't. I'm going to keep it short and to the point about cats. But there's just so much different cat facts, like their sense of smell, their taste, their hearing. Believe it or not, cats do not have any sense of sweetness in their taste buds. Yeah, they can't taste sugar. They instead have taste buds geared towards proteins and bitter tastes and things like that. And they also like specific temperatures for their food. They don't like cold or refrigerated food. So if you get them a can of food and you put it out for them of wet food and it's been slightly chilly, they will probably look at you like, what is this? Cold food? No. No. Cold food. Now here's a couple of interesting, strange facts that aren't necessarily fully verifiable, but they're observations from people. Not just me, but from people. A cat's whiskers. The longer a cat's whiskers are, supposedly, it denotes their problem-solving ability. Not necessarily how smart they are, but how they're able to adapt to situations and things, like how their wisdom and things like that. So a big whiskered cat is supposed to be wiser and more knowledgeable than others. Here's another one that is slightly scientifically provable, but please don't try it. Like, don't force your cat to go through these kind of, like an obstacle course to test it. Just, it's not nice. But anyway, a cat can fit their entire body anywhere in any space that they could fit their head. And you might be wondering, well, what if I have a really fat cat? I have seen this. Fat cats, they will like squeeze their bulk and their bones together and contort everything in some weird snake-like fashion and push their way through as long as their head will fit. It's a fact. It's a fact. It is. So yeah, that's cats. That's cat for you. That's cats for you. I like cats. I mean, they're nice. They're having a lot of cats is a lot to take care of. And as these cats pass on and move on to finish this life and move on to their next, I don't plan on really replacing them too much. And I don't mean replace as an, oh, well, need a new cat. Because, each of my cats has an identity and a personality and things. You can't really replace that. They're members of the household, right? But, I'm not going to add more cats if I can help it. Because it's too much to deal with sometimes. It's a lot. It's a lot having a pet. It's a lot of responsibilities. I'm getting up there. I'm getting older. And I'm trying to cut back on all the extra responsibilities I got. I'm trying to be laser focused on a few more things. But I'm not getting rid of any of my cats. So don't ask me like, oh, well, I'll take the cats that you don't want them. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not getting rid of any. They're still, they're still my buddies, So, yeah. Cats. But that's it. That's cats for you. Like I said, once again, I could go on and on. There's lots of cat facts out in the world. Like it's fascinating if you really get into it. And some people actually do like cat shows. Like they do dog shows, but some people do cat shows. Where you can take your cat and you can like show them off, and they'll win awards and things. I don't know too many cats of mine that would sit still for something like that. But theoretically, you could. But if you are interested, there are all kinds of cat resources out there. And of course, the internet is 50% cat photos. The other 50% is a mix of interesting news, historical facts, inappropriate behavior, and whatever else. But 50% at least is all cat photos and cat videos. That's how popular cats are. 50% of the internet. That's a true fact. You can quote me on that. I have no idea. But that's I'm sticking to that figure. I'm sticking to the 50%. You guys ever heard of Nyan Cat? Nyan Cat? Nyan Cat? I don't know how you pronounce it. Nyan Cat. It's a cat wearing a Pop-Tart, spewing rainbows out its backside, flying through the air to some electronic MIDI music. Look it up. Go to YouTube. It's from my internet generation, you youngins. Nyan Cat. There's a 10-hour video of it on YouTube. Go there, listen to it. The whole 10 hours. I dare you. The whole 10 hours. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got for you. That's cats. Don't know what I'm doing next week. Of course, I never know until the last minute. Could be dogs as the opposite of cats. People think that they don't get along, and sometimes they don't, but a lot of times they do. Just depends on the cat, it depends on the dog. Right? But, maybe dogs, I don't know. This dog drives me crazy. My cats are over there growling at each other. They're gonna have a fight, maybe. Hopefully not. Who knows? But tune in tomorrow. I'm going to be doing Twitch Tuesday, where I'm going to be trying once again to stream Star Wars Jedi Survivor, because when I tried to do it on the game's release last Thursday at midnight, it was denied, and it said, this game is not allowed to be streamed. And I was like, oh, well, that's just peachy, because I'm sure some big, high-paid corporate streamer had the rights to do it, and they were streaming it all night. But I'm going to hopefully be finished with my first playthrough of the game here tonight, and then I'll have a New Game Plus, which I will then start from scratch and do that for Tuesday. Or something else, who knows. Nothing on Wednesday. Uncanny Spirits Club on Thursday, 9:30 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch. And also on Friday, a pre-recorded episode of This Uncanny Earth. Okay. And that's all I have. I'll see you folks next week.